Didn't hit the button. I did hit the button, and apparently I am just, that's really loud, but that's okay because nobody else can hear it but me. Holy shit. This was a bad choice. Oh, pretzel. I had to increase the volume so that way. Boop. There. I had to increase the volume so that way I could enjoy it. But it does not need to be as loud as it is. It was scaring me. Anyway, I fixed it. It's no longer scaring me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new indoor adventure stream. We are doing more setting the table, which we have done before. But previously it was, why is this so much louder than everything else? There we go. Because there we go. Okay, RJ, say something. Okay, good. I can hear you. There, sweet Christ. My audio's fine. Anyways, hello everybody and welcome to Setting the Table, a show where I like to get friends on and then they help me world build, because doing stuff by myself is very difficult and time consuming, and I like to have fun on my free times, but sometimes being able to do world building and hang out with friends doesn't coincide, but in this case it does, because tonight RJ and I are going to do something special, which is work more on the Mech tabletop RPG that I want to eventually run in the Fate system. And I say that it is a mech system specifically because I don't think I have the rights to use Gundam, but I want to call them Gundams. I want it to be Gundam because I'm very hype about Gundams, especially since there was a new announcement about Gundam today. Oh, oh.
Well, it was back in January 6th, but I just saw it.
That's okay. It's new to me. It is new to me. And since we are here with mech stuff, I also have a mech-themed beer. It is from Gigantic. It is the Ginormous Imperial IPA at a solid 8.8%.
I've got a Shandy because it's the only beer we have, and it is a whopping 1.2%.
That's fair. All right, and so where did that go? The chat box should be visible, so we should be seeing chats pop up, but for some reason Streamlabs does not like me very much, so that empty blank box is supposed to be where people can see what, you know, they're saying in the chat. But...
Wait, hold on. Don't you mean what JD is saying in the chat?
What JD? What people? You know, we're JD's people.
JD transcends people.
It's true.
JD is amazing.
I've got water. I also have water. That's an important step of any stream, is hydration.
I've got sriracha.
That's not water at all. Don't drink that like it's water. Not again. Not again. Gross. All right. So, let's kind of get into it. So, one of the main reasons why I wanted to get the chat box be working now. Oh, that's awesome. Good. So one of the main reasons why, of course, it's always when I shit talk Streamlabs, that I wanted to get you on the show, RJ, is because you are also a mecha enthusiast. As it says underneath, we both are huge mecha fans, so it's only natural that I would want to invite you onto the show to help me figure out some stuff with mech, mostly because people always talk about The Legend of Zelda having a ridiculous number of timelines. Have you seen Gundam's timelines?
No.
All you Zelda fans?
The thing with Gundam, though, is that majority of them aren't even timelines. They're concurrently happening.
Oh, yeah. That's the difficult part, is because you will see characters and they will talk about events that you then watched in other Gundam shows or that you've heard about in other Gundam media. So it's like, you really just have to digest a bunch of this shit in order to make it accessible. But since we've already done that for you, it's going to be easier for us to then do that. Specifically for this mech game, I wanted it to take place in the Universal Century timeline, which is for Mobile Suit 00 as well as Mobile Suit G, the original one.
Yes, I want to say.
Because that's the one with, I was going to say the Red Ribbon Army, but that is not.
That's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it is Dragon Ball. So what is it? Who are the main players? Because there's the High Earth Defense Force. No, that's a different anime entirely.
That is with anime boys who transform and they have things. It's weird. I've watched 2 seasons of it.
It's a great show. There's a magical wombat.
The fucking wombat. No, the hedgehog kills me every time because it's like this little tiny creature, but it comes like, "Hello, everybody. We are the bad people.
We're the bad guys." All right, so
it's the what's it? The Mars.
Okay,
Fuck
so
me. We did, like,
I am bringing up the Wikipedia on this. So Gundam Timelines. Oh, Cyberwolf here. Hello, Cyber. Where to start and what's worth watching? No, that's not it. Gundam Timelines series.
Wait, did you want to do Gundam 00 or did you want to do the first Neon Xeon War?
Fuck, they're not the same. This is why we need a show that talks about Gundam Timelines. Okay, the timelines of Gundam from my anime list. So, there's the Universal Century, which is Mobile Suit Gundam, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam Double Z, Char's Counterattack, Gundam Unicorn, 0080 War in the Pocket, the 08 MS Team, MS... Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay, so that was the Universal Century. So that's the one with Gundam Unicorn, as well as the OG Gundam. But that's not Neo Zeon War.
Yeah, Neon Xeon was like Gundam...
But it kind of was, because they talk about the Neo Zeon War in Unicorn.
Yeah. Hold on, let's pick this up. The first Neo Zeon War was in Mobile Suit Gundam Double Z, ZZ.
Okay, so Mobile Suit ZZ is first Neo Zeon War.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia now, and it's like first Neo Zeon War, appearances, data, and instead of saying factions, they say belligerents.
What?
Yeah, right?
Why is... God damn it, Gundam. Okay.
You all are a bunch of belligerents.
Okay, so fun thing that we get, because this is the other important part about determining what timeline you're in, also kind of determines what the style of piloting your mech is. That's another really important part, because the Neo Zeon War timeline also falls into eventually you get the new types.
Right.
And so new types are actually very important, but again, for all you non-Gundam people, it is essentially like the next stage of human evolution where there's more of like a shared consciousness ability that these pilots get, but then it's also heightened piloting abilities somehow.
It's like better reaction time, better like strength, like some sort of telepathy.
Yeah. But like to a range, it's like an AoE telepathy, but it's more of like an emotional telepathy. Like you can feel what other people are feeling, but you can't necessarily tell how they're thinking. But because it's anime, everyone's emotions are like full paragraphs.
Today I feel shitty.
Yeah, drift compatible. New types are drift compatible. That's a good one.
And then like you get further on down. I can't stop thinking about Iron Blood Orphans.
IBO, dude. Okay, so...
IBO.
So, we have the UC timeline, which is Neo Zeon War. Let us figure this out, because these are important things to talk about.
Okay, so world building wise, are we still going to try and use the properties of Gundam for this, or are we just trying to build up from it? Like, Gundam as a basis, and then we'll...
This is Gundam as a basis because I like certain timelines better than I like others. Or some timelines just don't even make fucking sense, but they have fun elements about them that I think could be taken. Such as the Future Century timeline, which I am looking at right now, and that is the one where Mobile Suit Gundam G comes from, or G Fighter, aka
G-Fighter.
Street Fighter, the Gundam anime.
Whew, My favorite part about G Gundam is fucking when Domon calls the Shining or Burning Gundam. It's like from random ass spots.
Every time this car, it's like car jet thing shows up. It can like appear from behind waterfalls, inside of a bridge, just like breaks out of a wall.
Fucking
This car will
underground.
Kool-Aid Man its way to everywhere. How he parked it there the first time, I don't know.
Actually, in one of the G Gundam manga that I used to own, they showed like the 4-panel bits of joke stuff, and it shows like Domon getting there like 3 days earlier and starts digging in the ground.
Yes. Oh my god, yes. Okay, so tell me what I need to read up if we are doing this as a show. That is what this show specifically is for, is to figure out what you would need to read, / to create like a document of just like, these are the major events we're covering, these are other Gundam things you don't have to worry about. Because again, different timelines have different systems that make their version of piloting a mech different and special and unique compared to the other ones. So like in the UC, in the standard timeline for Gundam, there's really not a whole lot of differences between like sitting into another mech and like pulling levers and switches and kind of doing it that way. Whereas in Mobile Suit Gundam G, for example, is like a magical boy transformation where a skin-tight leather suit appears onto every mobile fighter, and then they use actual karate to fight inside of their mech, and then their mech does the same moves on the outside.
And I know I say I don't like to talk about it a lot, but in Build Fighter, it's like tiny little like Gunpla, like these build mechs that you do make, and you put them inside a simulator and they just go.
Yeah. See, we would not be doing that one. Whether or not that would be an element to the game, where like you could go to a planet and there are these kids who are like fighting with miniature Gundams. Yeah, you could do that. Yes, you can get your magical boy transformation, but you can also have your Gundam have the magical girl transformation, as was the case in Gundam Unicorn, which is part of the Neo Zeon / UC.
Motherfucking Gundam Unicorn blew my mind with that. Like,
I loved it.
you have this unassuming like looking Gundam, and then the panels just start sliding off, and they turn like this brightish red, and it's just like, I'm gonna fuck you up now.
You're gonna die. All right, so
My
then
name's Unicorn.
So then there was the After Colony series. And the After Colonies, that is when they introduced the Zero system for Gundam Wing / Endless Worlds, where it was basically like your Gundam would go Berserker mode and just like 2 times the speed, 2 times the strength, but it could control you. And it was also meant to kill other Gundams. So like if you went full Zero Suit mode when you were around your friends, the main character, Hero Yui, on more than one occasion actually attacks his friends because he's just like, I've lost myself to the Zero system. So Zero system, Gundam Wing.
And then there's the Trans Am system from 00.
That was the Trans Am system is like the helmet one.
It's also a full like what's it? I thought it was a full Gundam.
No, not in 00, because I'm watching that one right now. It's more of like the cockpit style, and then they just have like the levers on the side. Like there's not a whole lot going on other than the standard helmet. I want a mech in my mech. Funny enough, you want to be Char. You want to be the main bad guy in Gundam Unicorn when his mech hops into the tops into a siege mode mech.
But LB, let me opt to you this. Instead of a mech in a mech, why don't you have a horse piloting a horse mech that you can ride? Fucking G Gundam, man.
Okay, so then there's Correct Century, which was Turn A Gundam, which was a special project for the 20th anniversary of the series that highlights conflicts between humans of Earth and humans living on the moon, with the moon people outgunning the Earthlings until an unlikely hero finds a Gundam and serves as one of Earth's best line of defenses. Nothing
Spoilers.
is special.
No, spoilers, he's from the moon.
Nani?
Yeah, the main character.
Oh
He's
my
one of the
God.
moon people, and he's fighting for the Earth.
And then there's the Cosmic Era. I don't want to talk about Cosmic Era. That's Gundam Seed, and that doesn't make any sense. Gundam Seed was also like their first time going into 3D animation for a Gundam series. So they
Yeah.
really didn't know what they were doing as well as they did later for the 3D models. So like it's just really clunky, and the art style is just not. They all look
art
like they're
style-
rubbery. I just was not a fan of Gundam Seed. I made it like 5 episodes in and was like, this is just not for me. I will take a fierce pass. So I just never cared or looked.
Like, if you thought about Gundam pilots being pretty boys, Gundam Seed was like pretty boy central.
And then there's the Anu Domini timeline, which is from Gundam 00.
yeah.
Which I think is funny because starts off in the year 2307, exactly 3 centuries after the show initially aired. If Gundam Seed is an updated Mobile Suit Gundam, then Gundam 00 is an updated Gundam Wing. Oh, LB, this show has been going on since the early 80s, and there's no consistent timeline, except the closest we have is UC. I like Gundam 00 though. So, but then that one, they didn't really have, in Gundam 00, they don't really have like a special kind of, suit. Like there's nothing that's like overly complex about their Gundams other than it's like there's only 4 Gundams and they're all named like Virtue and weird shit like that.
Oh wait, is this 00?
Yeah.
Fucking wasn't the Sniper's Gundam Hallelujah?
That was the name of the character.
That was the name of the character.
No, that wasn't even the sniper. That was the dude in the fighter jet. Because the thing actually about Gundam 00 is that not the mechs transform, the Gundam specifically, but the enemy mechs do. They all have multiple forms. So you'll see one that's like a jet who turns into a Gundam, and another that's a tank that's a jet that turns into a mech, and then a tank that turns into a mech. So they had transforming Gundams. Transforming mechs. And then Advanced Generation is Gundam Age. But I never looked at Gundam Age. But
Gundam Age actually I liked quite a bit because it followed the story of an entire family piloting the Gundam.
Nice.
Like it started off with like this one kid and he fights and then he gets really, really pissed off at the enemy, so he becomes a racist.
Oh no.
He had hope and it was gone, like in America. Then his son took over and he was like, but we could fucking work together. And then he becomes a space pirate.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then his grandson is kind of a pussy, but then like he mans up with the help of his grandpa. Yeah.
I'd be down
Also,
to
there's
watch it.
45 Gundams. 45 Gundam series. Sorry.
So now you understand why I've needed multiple shows in order to be actually able to start this.
Wow, why? What is my fucking webcam doing? Like, please, stay up.
Please. So then there was the Regild Century for Gino Reconquista. Was created for Gundam's 35th anniversary and shares some elements with Turn A Gundam, the previous anniversary series. But that's fine. And then Post-Disaster. Post-Disaster is the one that I care about the most lately. Because that is for...
Iron-Blooded Orphans!
Iron-Blooded Orphans! Iron-Blooded Orphans. So, the thing about IBO that makes piloting these mechs so ridiculous comparatively to the other shows is that because in one, like in the originals, it's just a dude in a cockpit, he's fine. the way that they do it in IBO is that they essentially have like USB ports grafted onto their spinal cord, and then when they hop into the mech gets plugged into the person, and the person's brain acts as the processor for the mech. So you can actually move your mech with your brain, but as what happens with the main character, spoilery for the first, Akihiro. If we're talking about sexy plugs, Akihiro.
Ooh, Akihiro's a man's man.
He's an everyman.
Oh, Steven.
What?
I'll have some good stories to tell them.
Oh, boy.
Boy.
So that is, you run the risk, though, of that when you get plugged in, there is the possibility that you will overclock your brain. If you push your Gundam past its limit, you can overclock your own brain and give yourself a stroke in order to Gundam better.
Or in the case of the main character, spoilers, he loses the functionality of his arm and his eye, and he can only reuse that when he's plugged into the Gundam.
Yeah, it's basically like he doesn't have enough processing power on his own after using that. IBO also had a moment where there was a dude who got turned into a Gundam.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say who, but it happens, and oh my god.
It broke my heart, dude.
Yeah, no, and that, oof. Big oof. But the system that they use, I always call the AV system because I can't pronounce it without wanting to say vagina.
for Java, but
it's the Alea Vijnana system. Is how I've seen it spelled. That's how I've pronounced it. What the fuck is this show? Which one, LB?
Which one?
Indeed.
Because we could get into some shit.
Because Iron-Blooded Orphans, with the AV system, where you have the plugs that go into your back, and it's like, if you have one, then there's a 10% chance that you'll live upon getting it. And then the main character has 4 in his back just to show you how badass he is.
Or insane.
Yeah, a little bit of both. He's a murderous sociopath who just wants to garden. He just wants to garden in space.
Just wants to garden in space.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, all of these people are children.
Yeah, they're child soldiers. That's why they're Iron-Blooded Orphans.
They're child soldiers from Mars who were dubbed human garbage.
Yep. Human trash. Space debris. So in Iron-Blooded Orphans, we have
ridiculously long names.
No. So the thing is that, guys, I can't. This is a lot. Yeah. This is why we needed this.
We're here.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We'll be your Gundam support group. Look, we're gonna go through. Let's go through Iron-Blooded Orphans first. So, Iron-Blooded Orphans, what we have is a lack of space colonies. But instead of space colonies, we have colonized and actually terraformed a lot of the planets that are in our solar system. So, for example, there is a new spin-off series of Iron-Blooded Orphans that is going to be coming out later this year that takes place on Venus. So, while the events that are going on in IBO are happening, this new show is also going to have things that are going on concurrently, with this being the new story, or the new plot line that Sunrise Entertainment is going with. Gundam is also owned by Bandai, so a lot of this, if you're wondering, why would they have so many shows? Merchandising. They want to sell toys. And the easiest way to sell toys is clearly with political intrigue.
Yeah.
So
you think giant mechs battling it out would be the premise? No, there's a lot of political intrigue. It's something you don't brainlessly sit down. Well, you could brainlessly sit down and watch just for the action scenes. But then if you really want to soak it up, plot and lore.
You heard of Cyberwolf. You know where that's at. You know this lore is here. All right, so there is in IBO, you have, as always. Yo, see, there he is. We said it and he showed up. So in Iron-Blooded Orphans, we have the establishment of the Earth Sphere. And the Earth Sphere is run by, it's like the 7-Star Council, I think is what they're called. And it's basically, I thought it was 7-Star Council.
Well, it's like Gallahorn.
Gallahorn,
and then inside Gallahorn, the higher-ups are called the 7-Star Council.
Yes. And they are all based off of old families. So much in the same way, LB, like you were wanting your mech, or your character the last time to have been from like this higher up royal family of mechs. If this was IBO, you would definitely be a part of Gallahorn. As that apparently was the way that that show ended up working out. Now, the purpose of, in this show, why there is the rebellion, why they are rising up, is because the Martians, the boys get wrapped up. The boys get wrapped up in a plot so much bigger than them, where they're basically Jesse Pinkman to Walter White, but they're just like hanging out with Walt in this Breaking Bad metaphor, hoping that, okay, he says that he knows where we're going. This guy is gonna we're gonna follow him. We're gonna follow this guy's orders, because they've never been on their own before. They've always had somebody giving them orders. So this dude kind of like sidles up and says, "Hey, fight my war for me." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds cool. Yay, space." And he convinces them that they will be the king of Mars, because the entire thing is about the peoples of these different planets leaving the Earth sphere and becoming their own economic entities. They're producing more for Earth than Earth is for itself. Earth is kind of just taking in a lot of the resources that Mars is producing, and the Martians are like, we make the best, like, we have the best metal in the solar system. It's time we got paid for it. So Iron-Blooded Orphans was very much about cessation, about actually being able to get their freedoms. In Gundam 00, the main plot was universal peace, or like global peace, because rather than going out into space colonies and doing all of that, Earth didn't fuck itself over. Like, there are still space colonies, but all three of the Earth breaks up into 3 major economic blocks, and then these economic blocks each control a elevator that goes into space, because that's like architecturally sound, but the entire thing is also covered in solar panels, so they are each just like these large cores of solar energy that each of these economic blocks are in charge of, but they're each in kind of like a dick hat measuring competition of just saying like, I have the biggest military, I'm not going to trade with you unless you give us more blah blah blah. Space elevator like in Halo. RJ, was it like a space elevator from Halo?
Was there a space elevator in Halo?
Space elevator in Halo.
Space elevator? You mean like the space elevator in Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans?
Gundam 00? Yes. A little like that.
Oh, this was in Halo 5. I've never played Halo 5.
Oh,
wasn't this
ODST.
like a thing for the Tower of Babel or whatever?
I think so.
A metaphor?
Probably.
Is that what the towers in 00 are a metaphor for?
No.
No. Okay.
No. They just wanted money. Like, that's it. Because they're not trying to like unite the towers. They're just trying to be like, you guys, focus on this instead of your stupid militaries. You're not fighting. Focus on getting off this rock. I just walked back from getting some ice cream and I'm just as confused as I was before. Good. I'm glad.
It's a lot to digest.
Yes. So transforming mechs. So this was about unification. We're just doing broad phrases, what each series was about, because that can give us a general plot for what we want to do moving forward. Because then we can just say like, oh, this is our Gundam alt universe.
Do you want to have a timeline cut off, or do you want to try to encompass everything? Because encompassing everything is going to be a fucking task.
Okay. I've only seen it done once. There was only one thing I've ever seen that encompassed all Gundam and had it make the biggest air quotes sense. You want to know what that game was?
Is it Super SD?
It
Gundam?
was Dynasty Warriors Gundam.
Go, gosh.
Because they essentially were just like, there's a tear in the multiverse. Put it back together,
Okay.
yay Gundams. And you're like, yay Gundam! Like,
Put it back together. Congratulations, Shinji.
oh no, not those mechs. Get out of here.
Fuck those mechs. Do you want to limit it also to... Because there are some freaking sweet mech designs in other series that I just love.
Mech designs? Design your mech however. There's not going to be like a standard to base this off of. For right now, this is simply just like how are we going to structure the history of this world up until this point.
Okay.
And also, Dynasty Warriors Gundam was great because you just fought a bunch. It's the purpose of Gundam is the power fantasy where you get to be in a big ass mech and just
Fighting a bunch of Zaku.
fighting a bunch of Zaku units, which are like these little like they look like pig face ones that have like little snoots and one wandering eye, and you just wreck them.
So, fun bit of trivia. In Japanese, Zaku means small fry.
That's amazing. They are legitimately named small fries.
Right, but if you look at it, Sharp pilots a red Zaku called the Red Comet, and he kicks some ass.
Well, yeah,
So-
that's because he's the big bad of the enemies. All right, so
Everyone else is disposable.
Cessation. I think that's how you spell it. That is not cessation. Okay.
Secession from the... that.
So then in Gundam Wing / Endless Waltz, it was actually the same thing. Succession. Or like secession, like getting the fuck out of the Earth sphere. Because in that one, it was you have your Earth sphere, and then you have all the colonies. But you haven't actually you haven't gotten to the point of colonizing planets yet. But instead, it is just all of these space stations placed throughout, all of these like asteroids that have been turned into space stations that are all under the control of the Earth sphere. And
Would
so
you
it's a
say-
bunch of terrorists.
Would you say instead of secession, it would be freedom?
Yes. Freedoms. Freedoms.
Secession being, what's it? You want to separate from a government, but freedom being you want to be away from it all, free.
Well,
I can explain.
But that was the thing in Gundam Wing, though. They weren't trying to just like, as soon as they break off, just fuck off Earth. We want nothing to do with you. They just wanted to be their own economic power.
Don't you mean? Oh.
In
No,
OO was solar power. Theirs was about
Right.
unifying the planet. In Wing was the terrorists from the space colonies going to Earth, fucking things up on Earth, so that way Earth would eventually go, you're right, space colonies. Now that you've attacked us enough times, we'll leave you the fuck alone.
Okay, fine.
Because that makes sense as to why that would happen.
You said there's oil on them space colonies.
Okay, and then the future century for G Gundam.
Fucking fighting, man.
No one knows .mp3. Like, it's just there for fights.
Friendship.
Friendship and brotherhood. It's Bosuzoku.
Bosuzoku.
Bosuzoku! Just
Have you seen this man?
have you seen this man? Oh my god. He's the ace of spades.
The ace of spades.
It's on his hand. It's a tattoo that just shows up whenever he clenches his fist really
No.
hard.
So the plot line for that was like when the fucking what's it? the Royal Straight Flush people came out and then started bequeathing their powers onto Domon and his friends, and I was just like, what?
Who are you people?
When did you get here? They showed up for one episode and then died. They proceeded to die.
Oh God, yes.
If I ever get power-up powers, I want that to happen. Just like some random dude like, you are my successor. Wait, what? Take this tattoo. Oh God.
Hey, what the hell is this?
I won't tell you because there's a beam.
He gives you the tattoo power, and your first thought is like, oh, this is gonna age terribly. All right, so we have cessation, unification, freedom, being fucking brotherly as hell, and then what's like the overall theme for Universal Century?
Which one is Universal Century?
That's the Neo Zeon one.
They're just fucking fighting a war, man.
Okay, so let's figure it out. So we'll break it into 3 parts. So the first bit, why did the fighting start?
Was
it like an economic sanction thing? Like, does it always lead to economic problems?
Let's go to the wiki. Okay, so
in the meantime, just so you all know, this song is Stay By My Side by Miracle of Sound from his album Level 6.
So it started with the assassination of the Austro-Hungarian heir Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Wait, that's World War I, sorry.
I was gonna be like, wait, did they really do this? Like, is there like a space Franz Ferdinand I didn't know about?
Is this space World War I? Yeah, I think it was just like they were fighting.
Okay, so and we are fighting now. So what are the main factions? Because there's the Earth Force, or I guess what are the 3 main belligerents?
There's the Earth Federation.
Okay, so Earth Federation.
Neo Zeon.
And Neo Zeon, what did they stand for? Because we know what Earth stands for, and it's usually racist.
Let's find out. It's been a really long time.
Also, I was right. It is going to be a cross-platform app that they revealed at the end of the spoiler, or of the end of the trailer for the next Gundam series.
Ah, can't wait. Wolf's Hunt.
It's not Ool's Hunt, by the way.
Is it not?
Mm-mm. So the way that it is spelled on the My Anime listing, My Anime listing, is you are, and then the classic symbol that is called a thorn that looks like a T that has a loop, and then another R at the end. So it's you. So that thorn is pronounced as a TH. So it'd be Earther.
Uther.
You are, and then the TH, and then another R.
Do you think they're trying to say Uther, like Pendragon?
Uther!
Uther!
It's me, a Gundam pilot!
The
From
Tavern
Neo,
Keeper.
Scotland!
Neo Scotland.
Look, G Gundam was oddly racist. If you don't believe me, Google search Tequila Gundam.
Hey, where's the Neo Dublin pilot? Oh.
We don't talk about Neo Dublin. That place got destroyed. So Neo Zeon, what was their role in this war? What side were they on?
Anti-Titans and surviving members of the AEUG. As a group of youngsters, Shangri-La colony. God, why? Just tell me what you want. Do you want resources? I'll give you resources.
What do you want? We don't know.
We just want to fuck shit up. Forces from the old Principality of Zeon. So what are you about?
Was Xeon like a space nation that got blowed up or something?
I think Principality of Xeon was also referred to as the Duchy of Xeon, and Xeon Dukedom is a nation. Oh, they're in control of the colonists of Side 3, and they fought against the Earth Federation during the 1-year war.
So Neo Xeon is colonists.
Yeah. So it's Spacies versus Terrans.
Okay, and then wasn't there a third? Like when we were looking at this last time for the first Neo Xeon War, wasn't there like a third group? It was the AUG. Those just dudes with guns.
The Anti-Earth Union group. It's like 6 factions here.
All right, so we're just going to do Earth Federation and Neo Xeon because I'm guessing that the other forces are just lumped into one side or the other.
Yeah, because then if you think about it, there's also like the Loyalists in the Xeon and the AUG.
Look,
Politically
Gundam.
intrigued, folks.
Political intrigue. All right.
There were mercenaries. They were hired out to steal a Gundam and then like fucking use it.
Okay, so so if we're going and like creating our own AU for Gundam / mechs, these are the things that tie all of the other ones together. Like these are the main things that we have looking at these. So there is there's fighting just because fighting. Don't you do it. I see you doing it. No, God, that's why? Why do you do this? Hey, audiocast listener. RJ has been just squirting sriracha into his mouth for reasons I don't know. There is the so G Gundam is just brotherhood and fighting because fighting's manly, and what's more manly than mechs fighting each other hand to hand versus like the English dude who just took a bunch of drugs. It was a weird series.
No, hey, that English dude was also part of Neo Germany. He was a ninja from Neo Germany.
God damn it. God bless you, G Gundam. We didn't deserve you. Then there's freedom, unifying the Earth as itself, as well as doing more freedoms. So I think that a good place to start. Yes, Necrogoblicon. It's just backwards. I think that a good place to start for us is. So we're gonna do the Fate Core timeline. Okay, so I think the easiest way to do it is probably going to be there is Earth Sphere, and then you guys are involved in trying to free the people of X from Earth. Or you are part of Earth and you want to wrangle in all of these outsiders, and then eventually you realize, it is the Earth who is wrong. And then you just swap sides and join.
There is a peaceful solution to this, and it involves more exploding mechs.
Look, I am going to say this right now. There will be a moment. None of you will know when. It'll probably be in the middle of a mech battle. But an enemy will ask, why must we fight?
I'm going to respond with survive and then dump my 16 blast on him.
Yes. Okay. All right, so we have Earth being a bunch of dicks. And then not wanting to share resources with X group. So for this, what do you think would be better for for a wide-ranging story? Do you feel like it would be better to have it be Earth and colonies, or do we want other planets to be colonized as well?
I like the idea with Earth and other planets with colonies, just so that there could be a little bit more depth in like, let's say Venus will support our movement as well, but Mars is against us, so we don't have access to like metals and stuff, you know?
Okay. So we have all three, which is Earth, planets, colonies. Is space travel a thing? Like, not just like the general, like, we've hopped into a large ship and now it's going to take us several months to get there. But is there any kind of like hyperspeed? Mostly because in the Fate Core book, they have a galactic rainbow bridge.
The Bifrost.
Kind of.
It depends. How early do you want this to be set? If it's like early into like the spacefarers sort of technology pool, then we'll have those like months of slowly drifting across. But if it's like higher up, then we'll have like sort of the more technologically souped up Gundams with the hyper warp drives. So aesthetic wise versus mechanics, what timeline do you want it to be in? Like time frame?
I would say I would want the hyperspace travel mostly for Fate is a very fast-paced game, is a very quick game. If I told you guys, like, you said, oh, I want to go to X place, and my response was, you're going to have 4 months of downtime. What would you like to do on this spaceship? Train and get swole. Okay, but it's Fate, so you already are trained and you've already gotten to the swole. Like, you don't...
Super cut over it, like... 4 months later...
Hey, I didn't know that I could get all these biceps.
6-pack? I've got like 6, 12, 18?
It doesn't stop!
It wraps around my waist!
Hyperspace travel can turn months of travel time into... What's the range? Are we wanting days? Weeks?
I kind of want to say days just to give players that sense of urgency, where you have to plan things out and it's like, yeah, but we'll get there in a certain amount of days versus like, we'll get there in an hour. We have time to prepare.
Yeah. Can turn months of travel time into days. Okay. So, Fate book has ruling on hyperspace. Okay, so, the other thing is that is this... Okay, so we have hyperspace travel. And so that means that it is going to be mechs slash tech is very futuristic looking?
Advanced.
Future advanced looking. Not the first rodeo. Yeah, so it wouldn't be like, this is the first mech that you've ever seen. Like, or maybe it is. It very well could be, but I doubt it. Mostly just because, like, this is the Earth planet's colonies lines up with Iron-Blooded Orphans. And in Iron-Blooded Orphans, that's when you get the really fucked up mechs.
Yeah.
That are just like, I am a planet destroyer. Like, leveling cities with a single ray blast.
Oh, hey, Big Zam.
Oh, hey, it's Big Sam.
Yeah, so in, again, the first Neo Zeon War, they had the, what was it? The Earth Sphere that could mass produce Gundams, but they weren't very specialized. And then Neo Zeon had very specialized mech, but there were few of them.
Weren't commonplace. Or mechs are commonplace. Mobile suits are commonplace.
Yeah.
Mobile suits are commonplace, but not Gundam. Underline. Then what else is important in here? So we have mobile suits are commonplace, but not Gundams.
Are we doing... How is our government type? Is it a democracy? Is it a...
So in... Per planet, I think that there would be a representative, kind of like the House of Representatives here. So
Right.
it's like the people of the planet elect their leader, and then based off of a cheerocracy, then based off of how they go about electing their officials, like each planet could have its own version of election, but the Earth sphere doesn't really care. And I think that might be one of the problems that we would face, is that they don't care if your planet is a dictatorship. They don't care if your planet is like a socialist regime. They don't care one way or the other, as long as you pay your taxes.
Right.
So you have this like very uncaring centralized government that is really just there. So it's just like, are you committing war crimes / have people reported that you're committing war crimes?
And you're just like black bagging people over the head going, no,
They're like,
here's
okay.
some money.
Yeah, no, and like highly corruptible, lacks centralized government.
Okay, take this ticket to the
Maybe-
Wolfgang Puck.
Maybe there is a maybe there's one colony that is like shadow government kind of thing. Like maybe there's or maybe there's one planet that's actually like making the majority of choices.
I like the idea of a colony doing it because it's more shadowy, like an upper echelon cabal sort of dealy.
Okay. On Cabal making decisions for the
Colony do you want
for
to hit on?
how the Earth sphere can govern.
Cabal 332.
So would there have been do you think there would have been wars previously? Because like in IBO, they find old wartime Gundams, and a lot of the stylings that they have for like the AV system are based on like old wars. So in this case, it would have been like there would have been the colonies versus Earth war, but then Earth kicked the shit out of the colonies.
I honestly think there would have been wars on the colonies and different planets, but never an intergalactic scale. Only because of how resource intensive it is. There would have definitely been infighting on the planets because of how government and people work, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we just need that catalyst factor of why we're going intergalactic with this.
That's a good question. Why are we going intergalactic? So we have our colony. And we could always be like, it's the colony out towards Pluto that nobody thinks anyone would care about.
We have a colony out by Pluto?
How they run the government. Nobody knows they exist.
Pluto's a planet?
No, it's a dwarf. It's also a dog. The other thing is that when I first started wanting to make a mech tabletop game, I read a lot of the lore for Mech Warrior. And one of the things that I found in Mech Warrior was it was like a group of people whose mech was basically like their family weapon that they would hand down from generation to generation. So it was this group of people using these really old mechs that were just like, this has been in my family's generation, like my family for 5 generations. We've always fought with this mech.
This ding right here, 70 years ago.
And you look at it and you're like, Gundam Heavy Arms is gonna destroy that thing, right? Heavy Arms fucking unloads everything it has and then just floats in space.
And the worst part is that mech is still around.
Mm-hmm.
That thing could take a fucking beating.
All right, so we have highly corruptible, lacks centralized government, Earth sphere. And then we have the upper echelons of the Cabal, making decisions for how the Earth sphere can govern. This is from a colony. And then there is the wars on the colonies, but never on an intergalactic scale because of how resource intensive it was. So there hasn't been an intergalactic war yet. That's the important part. Has not been an intergalactic war. Okay, what is something else that we can figure this out of based on the other mech series that we've seen? So we have a setup for... Oh, if I could turn back time. God damn it. A shareocracy, you son of a bitch. So we have Earth's planets, colonies. How long has this been established, do you think? Like, to get to the point of having advancement, is this like thousands of years past the, like, we are now going into this thing, or is this like a hundreds of years thing?
To get everything established and up and running, I think like thousands of years, because you'd have to, send people out to Venus, send people out to Mars, then send up the colonies. What would have been first, colonies or planet colonization? Colonies.
Yeah, you would have had to have the colonies, because in order to get the terraforming kind of technology under wraps, you're not gonna just like, all right, we're gonna shoot a bunch of colonists at this planet and like fucking go for it Elon Musk style, or you set up the colonies first, because that way you could essentially have workers once you master entering and exiting out of an atmosphere. Then you would be able to essentially be like, okay, here is Mars as a planet, it's time for your day shift, go down,
I like
fix Mars,
where they sent out these colonist ships to colonize the planets and haven't had contact with them for like hundreds of years until they finally were able to establish like a link, and then you just see like, I don't know, Mars goes all medieval and it's like a monarchy on there, and then Earth is just like, what the fuck? This is what we talked about. So
Chairman Mao style, like 5-year plan, but as a 100-year plan. And then they just expected people to kind of go along with this plan. It's just like, yeah, we'll just leave these fuckos in their own colony for like 100 years.
We'll ring them up in like 150.
Yeah. I'm down for it. We could call it the 100 years plan. And like that was like the defining moment for like where our branch was. Like, instead of like all of these different colonies fighting, this was essentially like, you do you for the next 100 years, and then we'll check in.
Big question. Why leave Earth?
See, now it gets oddly topical.
Why do we leave Earth?
I don't want to be on this planet anymore. So there is always the basis, or the base need, which is resources. We need more. We always need more because humans are a parasite. So the idea that like we're running low on resources and we need new planets to sustain the needs of Earth Prime, or the Earth Sphere. But I think in this case, because we're going out and we're setting colonies, it could be... What's the half-life of radioactive fallout?
600 years? No, 60, I think? Hold on, let me see. Oh, I'm wrong. It depends.
Okay. The half-life of U-235 is 700 million years.
Million years.
Okay, so that's not gonna happen.
I guess expended resources is what we gotta do.
There's resources, there's,
Or, we could introduce, like, a newer element that has a quicker half-life. It was weaponized and now it's powering our mechs.
Okay, radioactive. Quicker half-life. now powers mechs. I was going to say rising sea levels. There's just not enough land for the amount of people that we have. So sent out into space. So that way it's just like, get the fuck off this planet. Like, and then that could be why there is still that like central body that is the upper class. Like they wanted to stay as pure Earthkins.
And they could afford it.
And they could afford it versus like, there was like a government stimulus package to be like, hey, you want to hop on this fucking cruiser?
We'll give you an acre and a mule.
Yeah, we'll blast you out on this rock. Space race. So like we could do that as well.
A mega polar vortex.
I was going to say another thing that we could have happen as well. Is that like maybe in space we find in like rare instances on some planets that there is like some crazy resource that we want, the quote unquote unobtainium a la Avatar. Stupid name.
I like that.
Resources out there.
Would it be different resources for Mars and Venus, or would it be the same resource?
I imagine that it would be different resources, but I also like the idea of just like having these colonies hovering over a planet. People go down and have been steadily terraforming them.
Something that we could use as a conflict issue. Earth does not have this element.
It's spice.
Spice? Do spice?
The spice must flow. So I also liked the idea that each planet has its own style of rulership. Medieval knights for Mars.
Evil Mars knights, but they're chivalrous.
All right.
I'm sorry, my brain was thinking Macross Delta with the evil Mars knights because fucking idols and mechs, man.
Hail, Greybeard, and welcome.
Hail!
To
Mega big titty polar vortex.
All right, so why leave Earth? Resources. It's radioactive, quicker half-life. I like. What if that was it? So we went in, like we left Earth because we found this new mineral. We found this new material that wasn't on our planet. And then that material was the nuclear radiation power thing that we used to then pilot our mechs later. So we brought it back to Earth. We took the time to like go and invest in colonies and stuff like that. And then we brought it back. But then it was during that time that the peoples of Earth all decided to just start fighting amongst themselves for basically like how they could get their hands on it, weaponizing it, and then they started turning it towards each other. And the colonies and planets just sort of looked down and were like, what the fuck is happening down there? And Earth is just Mexican standoffing itself.
It's like Cold War, but with like fucking... I want to say atomic bombs, but yeah, that was what the Cold War was about.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that option. Earth doesn't have this element. Resources out there. Each planet has its own style of rulership.
I like that. I like that. Or we brought that mineral back and we were trying to refine it, and it went like nuclear power plant explosion.
Okay.
Or refine it further. Sorry.
Because it could do that. Because the thing that I'm not necessarily sure about that is like, if we're eventually like just shoving a chunk of that shit into a mech and being like, go 12-year-olds, pilot this into the unknown. Like, that seems like a really bad idea, just because like, if your mech died, this planet's now uninhabitable. Like, it's
loaded
sketchy.
into the mechs in smaller quantities. Smaller, safer quantities.
Because the other idea that is possibly there is that it wasn't necessarily radioactive. It could be corrosive to vegetation. Ooh. So, like, as people brought it in, they didn't really think about it, but the more that they brought in, the more that it started to affect the atmo and change the surrounding area. So before we even really realized what was going on, a lot of the surrounding area was just starting to die off because of something that we had introduced into our atmosphere.
Right, like the worker mechs on the planet on Earth were being powered by this, but they were just slowly killing off crops.
Yeah. The real life comparison to, as an example, why you always have to check and wash your boat before you put it into a new body of water. Because there are, like, if you put your boat into a lake or into a place that has a particular kind of invasive fungus on the bottom, or any kind of, like, waterborne plant, and then you move it to a new place, you're just spreading that infection.
Right.
So with these, where we've already established that Earth is mass-producing mechs. So if we're mass-producing mechs and we're just shoving this shit into it because it's like, oh, it's a quick power for mech, and then eventually it's just like, oh, a quarter of our world is desert. Whoops.
Where's that gif? Where's the gif?
It's at my work computer. I don't have the whoops gif at home.
Oh wait, no, I saved it. Hold on.
Send it to me. We'll put it up.
So a cool thing about Discord is that you can favorite gifs.
Yes.
Wait, where is it? Wait, is it in here? No! I've been cheated!
You got played, son. Anyways, so...
It's on my work computer.
Corrosive element from the element / material
corrodium.
Powering mechs.
What do you call it, corrodium? I don't fucking know.
What if that's what it, like, I wouldn't think that that's what it would be called now, but, like, maybe, like, when exposed to a specific oxygen or something like that, a specific element that is found in highly dense jungle regions, that it just fucking tanks it. And, like, maybe... I wouldn't think that it was found on every planet, because planets themselves are so diverse. Like, for example, Venus would be a perfect place for vegetation to grow. That would be like your jungle planet because of all of the greenhouse gases that are trapped there. But say it was from
Mars, basically. Because I feel like they would have biodomes on Mars.
What if... Okay, so Mars has the element. Let's just say Mars has the element. What if that is why the Earth sphere and Mars are at odds? Is because the Earth is essentially blaming Mars for its own actions of just being like, how would you send us this material that destroyed our entire planet? And they're like, we were your vassal state. You asked us for this.
By a cosmic twist, the element from Venus combined with the element from Mars causes that corrosiveness.
Ah. Venus / Mars element causes corrosive airborne effect towards plant life / vegetation, because we didn't know that it would have it, because it's only when coupled with the environmental bits on Earth.
I also really like the idea when it's like intook by humans, not ingested. When humans are exposed to it, there you go. And after they die, it kind of causes synapses in their brain to continue to fire off to make like the zombie effect, so we could have like zombie mobile suits. That'd be so cool.
Okay. I'm gonna say no.
Oh.
Specifically, because that I don't want that being like a widespread every mech has that. Because if you told a dude like, hop in this giant robot, oh okay, hey, when you die, you're gonna keep working in the giant robot. Be like, wait, what? I'm gonna talk to my overseer about this. Overseer, did you know this? Brains.
Could you imagine, though, a space colony that's like, yeah, it's fine. You're just going to be working in this mobile suit. You put the helmet on, and it's like a pistol, like, just goes off in your head.
Oh, God.
And it's just like you're working forever.
See, I was thinking the other way, where it's like you're fighting the big bad, right? And the big bad is, like, geared themselves into the mech. And then eventually they start fighting with, like, more of that human precision, kind of like how Mecha did in IBO when he started overclocking himself. Right. But then it gets to the point where he eventually is just like, that dude died in there. He is just the mech now. Like, the mech, like, forcibly uploaded consciousness into itself.
We shot his cockpit.
The body's over there. Hello.
This is what I love about these world building sessions.
This is why I wanted to do it. It's because I like mechs. I want to figure out shit about mechs. We're making our mech storyline. So the next time I fucking bring you guys in, I can just say, this is our story. This is what's going on. These are your players. Let's have fun with it. So, humans exposed to the combination of stuff.
We said no.
Not the humans, but the atmosphere.
It's basically like taking like 10 times the amount of aerosol in an aerosol can and just like every single day for like 10 years.
So we have the vegetation dying around the mass-produced mechs. So did we want to still do the 100-year plan?
Yeah,
okay.
I would actually love the 100-year plan. It wasn't until like after the 100-year plan that we started importing back the resources, you know?
Yeah. Bring back resources that were safe, or is this part of the plant life vegetation problem?
I think it would have originally been like after reestablishing contact with these colonies, then they would have said, oh, we have this, this, and this works well, and then like the Earthsphere was like, yeah, sure, bring them back. We could use that to power our mechs.
Okay, so after 100-year plan, we started to bring back resources. This is when the problem occurred.
How fucking shitty would it be if it was like the metal from Venus, we make the mechs, and then Mars is the power source, and then once they hit Earth, they're just manufactured, and then everything just starts dying. It's like, what's happening?
Why? Oh, too much tungsten. What?
What?
Okay, so we have the 100-year plan, and then it's after the 100-year plan that we start to bring back resources. How long? So we start mass producing these mechs, and we aren't doing it for military purposes at the time.
I think it would have been agriculture and like building, construction, like civil duties.
Okay. Civil duty mechs to start off with. So what would have been the catalyst? What would have been the turning point? Because we have these... Because the 100-year plan was originally going to be our answer to us leaving Earth, and then we had the 100-year plan happen before we started leaving Earth.
Oh, no. I thought the 100-year plan was in response to dwindling resources on Earth, and within that 100 years, we managed to stabilize.
Okay, so 100-year plan. So it goes... Okay, so dwindling...
World building.
Yes. Much easier to do with a friend. Dwindling resources. So, dwindling resources, and then that ends up leading to wanting to leave the planet to find more. Then you have the 100-year plan, which was to send off a... How many do we want? Like 10s, 20s, hundreds? Or was this just one per planet?
I think it would have to be multiple, because if it's just straight up one, it wouldn't like spread fast enough. I don't know. What do you think?
So I think one, it would have to, if it was one, it would have to be a fucking huge colony.
Yeah.
Versus if you sent
Like a fleet, like straight up.
Okay, so what if you sent like you said, fleets, but then they all merged together like our International Space Station to create this massive space station.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
And so, like, you have these mini colonies that are essentially going out, and then once they reach the place, they all merge back together. And then that's how you get internalized factions as well. Because then on these smaller colonies, you could have had people who were like, my family we were the shit on this one, and now that we've moved back and turned into this massive colony, there are other families who think that they're the shit, and now we have this weird high society.
How would like lower slum colony districts work then? Because they're all basically the same ship.
If they were all basically the same shift, it would be like the vaults in Fallout. Like, what do you put value on in your colony? What do the collection of you believe to be important for your survival? So, like, for example, maybe the colonies that are on Jupiter, for some reason, got really into fabric. Like, they are just all about, like, creating these weird synthetic fibers from the gas giant beneath them that come out in these variety of colors. So the way that you determine, like, what your wealth is on Jupiter is how well you dress. Whereas, like, on Mars, because it is the Iron Planet, it is Ares. Like, that is very much based on, like, your medieval chivalry. So you have these, like, knights because they have proven themselves by iron.
Okay.
And then that's when you get into the weird mech anime known as Knights Plus Magic.
Centaurs, dude. Centaurs. Fucking
Centaur mechs.
Centaur mechs controlled by motorcycles. What? Look me in the eyes and tell me I'm wrong.
Why do you think I've turned my head away? Okay. So, all centaurs are hot. Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Learned
Thank
that
you,
on Christmas. 1 year plan. Send off a fleet of colonies to establish a station. International Space Station. Okay, so then we have the 100-year plan. So, dwindling resources, wanting to leave the planet to find more. 100-year plan, send off fleets of colonies to establish stations. Once all the colonies are established, how long do you think? Because we wouldn't have hyperspace travel before this, because there would be no end to getting there. So it would take a long time to do that, I would feel. Mostly just to like wait for the other dudes at the end to get there.
Yeah, but here's a good thing. It takes about 300 days from something to get from Earth to Mars.
Okay.
At its closest point.
Okay.
So it could have been like a planting, like, okay, so within a couple of days, or within 300 days, Mars will swing closer by the Earth, so we'll just send you out now.
Yeah. No, that's what the plan was for the SpaceX travels that old Muskie himself wanted to do. That there Elon.
Yeah. It also only takes like a little over 3 months to get to Venus.
But it's getting to the far back planets that begins to turn into the problem.
Yeah.
It's just
And
like,
then-
here, we'll slingshot you while Pluto's at its nearest point. Thanks, I guess. Like,
I guess. Also, there's an asteroid belt, like partway through.
I mean, we would have had worker mechs at that time. We could have maneuvered part of the asteroid belt to at least make it passable.
Yeah, or we could have just like sent the worker mechs out and start blasting,
Mine them.
mine them. Yeah.
Okay, but that's whatever. So,
Yeah.
who cares about asteroid belts? This is space. So we have our 100-year plan. And then how long post 100-year plan would current problem happen?
I kind of want to say 50 years because then that would be like enough time to get everybody established and then have relations actually bloom within the sort of like planet. I don't want to say democracy, the planet bodies, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so 50 years, so at 150, are we going off of a new timeline? Like, are we just saying that this is happening in, like, year 150 AU? Or, like, year 150 IA for the Indoor Adventure year? Eh? Oh, shit, he's leaving.
We'll think about it. Sure, I think just for timekeeping's sake, that would be, you know, good. Instead of saying, in the year 20XX.
I really wanted to start last time we played that this begins in the year 30XX. Just because it's so stupid.
That's how all Mega Man games start, you know that, right?
In the year
In the year
27XDX. Okay, so this is... Okay, so dwindling resources, 100-year plan. We would have started the new calendar. Would we have started the new calendar at the end or the beginning of the 100-year plan?
I think it would have to be more towards the end of the year, 100-year plan, because then people are thinking like, oh shit, all of our times are totally different because an Earth year does not equate to a Mars year.
So that was the reason why I was thinking the opposite, actually. Because if you sent people out and said, okay, contact us in 100 years, you would have some colonies that are just fucking dark for years and years and years and years. Or there would be others where you're like, okay, call us back in 100 years, and in like 2 weeks, they're like, yo, what's good? It's been 100 years. Like, oh, fuck.
How high are you guys? We're on Venus, man.
Everything grows perfectly here, man. So I think that we would have to establish a universal calendar, a UC, before we sent people out into space, just so that way it's like, okay, when this timer stops,
Call us.
This is
okay, Mom.
This is the thing. This is the thing that will determine. So I think that establishing it before we send them out is probably the best bet.
I like that because that gives me the idea that the launch would be like IA year 1.
Yeah. Inverse ascension. Wait, that's just going down.
Inverse ascension. So we're drilling through the Earth's crust. And
No, we're going down in space.
I mean, if you have sex in space, I guess you're going down in space.
Okay, so we have our year 1. Send duders up in colonies. And then 100 years. So we have a 100 years plan. So 50 years after is when the problem begins to occur. So that's when the corrosion starts. Right? Is after the 50 years? Or are we doing that it's after that 50 years that's when we realize, oh shit, the corrosion is bad?
I kind of like the idea where it's like, you know, ever since we started importing and then putting things inside our mechs, it started to corrode, and then we're like, oh shit, because then it's like, what's going on? It's probably some dirty Martian germs.
Racism. Okay, so 50 years, problem is established or begins.
Yeah. Damn it.
What?
If we used IE, we could say it's the interstellar ephemeris.
I don't know what that last word means.
It's a table or data file given the calculation of celestial bodies.
Done. Interstellar.
EPH. EMERIS.
Interstellar ephemeris.
This is also a thing about Gundam's really long words.
The main group in the series I am currently watching calls themselves Celestial Being.
Hallelujah.
No. He's really cool. The universal calendar set, you can set it to anything. 10-day weeks, 3 weeks a month, and then 10 months a year, 300 days total. Graybeard? Graybeard, are you trying to put 10 days in my space? This is a space without Ed Greenwood. Ed Spacewood.
This is a safe space.
This is a safe space. Okay, so your interstellar ephemeris time calendar. Okay. 50 years after they import. Is that when we call like full stop?
On imports?
On import?
Yeah. Well, I guess they find out it's like this and this, and they're like, well, fuck. So we're just not going to import these anymore.
Okay, so 50 years, hardline, no more imports.
I think it would be hardline embargo.
Okay.
Or in the olden times, the oh grab me.
Okay, so that means that after the 100 years plan, send off fleets. So in year, what, 120, 115?
Yeah.
Year 115, they find out that the materials are corroding the environment. 50 years, a hardline embargo. Obviously, there's going to be some illegal trading. Going on a la Ivory. So at year 150, they have a hardline embargo. So at what point... Okay, so they have a hardline embargo, so no longer are Venus and Mars doing trade with Earth. So the reason why then Earth gets upset, are they legitimately just like racist to the point where they're like, fuck Mars for what they did to Earth, and then they just start attacking Mars? Or do they start doing the even more dickish thing and putting harsher trade restrictions on Mars, kind of in the same way that England did to Ireland in like the 1830s?
Sorry, I was gonna say something really dumb. And then Mars dropped the colony on Dublin. Oh Lord, here comes the neighborhood.
Oh Lord, here coming.
Okay, so I think the Earth files like a legal action against Mars saying like, hey, you owe us reparations for all the shit you did with your shitty minerals.
Okay, so is that Mars and Venus or just Mars?
I think it would be. I kind of want to say Mars and Venus traded first to make their own like higher power mechs for working, but there just wasn't that element that Earth has, or we'll decide later, that makes it corrosive in those two planets. Or maybe what's it? The ozone was like just at the right place because Venus is like super dense greenhouse gases, so it doesn't activate properly.
It has to be in lighter areas with
Yeah.
less oxygen. But then it would have happened on Mars unless it was developed on a colony.
Well, I get that. That's why I kind of want to say Mars was like biodomes, you know?
So I would think that Mars could be biodomes, kind of like in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
But there's also the option for...
Or, because Mars doesn't have an atmosphere, the solar radiation kind of kills off whatever makes the things interacting with each other. Like,
Oh, okay. The Martian Rads, got it.
so in Venus and Mars, there are these two like limiting factors, but then on Earth, it's like that environment-rich sort of, hey, it's okay to go corrosive.
So my thought was why Earth is only demanding reparations for Mars. So we've already talked about how Earth is a very lax ruling body, right?
Right.
So what if you have Mars? Also, we kind of have to readjust the 100 years plan because
Timetables.
So I don't think it would be 115 that they found out it was bad. I think in 150 because that would give Mars and Venus enough time to come out of there like, hey, we're out in the middle of fucking no place. Talk to each other, be able to like come together, create this thing, and then deliver it to Earth, and then have Earth come out and do like find out, oh, this is actually bad.
Mm-hmm. So what would happen would have been like Venus primarily trades with Mars as a middleman, or would it be the other way around?
So
I need to look at the planets.
My thought for this is that Mars has the patent on it.
Ooh.
On paper, this is a Martian material, but they use things from Venus to be able to make this thing. It is very much a Martian-based, like 75% Mars, 25% Venus. So Venus was like, yeah, it's technically yours, and then would let the Martians kind of market it, and then they would get the third-party sale out of it. Now, because it is a Martian pride thing, they package it as like, this is pure Martian. This is like from Mars, our colonies. We provide this to you. Our best and brightest were able to talk to the amazing agriculturalists over on Venus and get them to kind of like coincide with the things that they are getting like from the planet, so that way we can create this organic metal. But from Earth's perspective, oh, so this is a Martian thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Mars being like, what?
Venus?
Venus did this too, and Venus is just, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. Like,
I think the even more fucked up thing is Venus knew.
Venus suspected. They didn't know for sure, but they were at like this 70, like again, like a 75, 80%, like, this might be bad. But we're just selling to Mars for Mars things. We didn't know that Mars would sell it to Earth for Earth things.
The correct amount of elements needed to activate this poisonous property.
Yeah. Or there was one scientist who knew, but he got shut down because of like lobbyists kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Just advocating, don't do it!
It'll kill the Earth! And be like, we're on Venus, you dumb shit! What do we care? Okay, so then Earth demands war reparations after 50 years, that is when the Venus, the Venus representative,
But,
100 years,
know.
send fleets out.
right.
Fleets begin to establish. So fleets
Within
establish
and then
contact between the two.
yeah, and then within the 100 years, there's gonna be a Venetian-Martian trade alliance.
Okay, so within the 100 years or post 100 years, within the next 50? Because again, the purpose of the 100 years was that it was established. Just go, be yourself.
Post 100 years
/ Mars trade alliance. Maybe Venus and Mars were like doing kind of like a back alley thing where they're like, we know we're not supposed to be talking to each other, but hey, buddy.
Hey, friend.
Hey, friend. You want to trade?
you want to trade some stuff?
LF Minerals. Looking for.
Oh, that's even more fucked up, because then if Martians were selling to the Earth and making this a Martian thing, they're like, Venus, and then Earth's like, ah ha, I caught ya.
Yeah. So that's why Venus just has to be like, look, if you drag us into this, we're both fucked. I'm not about that. Venus for Venus. Like,
that's good. I like that.
Okay, so Venetian Mars Trade Alliance before they were supposed to.
Whoops.
Year 1, they find out. So it wouldn't be year 1. So
No.
the Venetian Trade Alliance, obviously some illegal trading going on, which is something that we had earlier, but so what we can do...
We're bumping that timetable up.
Yeah, we're bumping the timetable up. So So it's 50 years for them to create this new element.
Right, and at the end of the 50 years, then the Earth has started to corrode, and then Earth is like, what the fuck, man?
Okay, so end of 50 years, Earth begins to corrode. So then, is it the next 50 years? Are we doing another? Because again, like if we're basing this off of a slight bit of Chinese history, are we doing a second 100 years plan?
What would the second 100 years plan entail?
Connecting. Since we've sent out everybody, the next 100 years is going to be establishing trade routes and getting everybody kind of on track with how things are supposed to go. And so that is when, during this like year 175, that Earth finds out, hey, what the fuck? Why are all of my plants dying? And Mars and Venus just go, I don't know.
Well, it has to do something with this Martian-made mech.
Okay, so then 50 years total for second 100-year plan. Then we have Venus or Venetian / Mars resource created. Mars takes credit because pride.
Hubris will be their downfall.
Hi guys. Hubris, what are you doing here? Also, how do you feel about the layout currently for this, where it just has mechs on a slideshow in the back? Then there's the chat.
I was like looking at the mech slideshow. I was like, I recognize so many of these. I kind of wanna make something for these sort of sessions, like the mech world building.
I was going to. I've been meaning to. I think that's what I'll do tomorrow and Sunday, because I have given myself more free time during the week. One of the things that I was actually going to be asking Danae to help out with was creating stuff for, hey, I want to have like a smaller world building stream for people to help out, so that way instead of like my only options being either a 5-man or a 6-man, that I could have like 1 and 2 and then a big fucking screen in the middle for just showcasing the one note.
The ones or note?
Yes. So 50 years it was 50 years, so that was the total. For the second 100 years, the Venetian Martian resources is created. They trade with Earth. Or that is when Earth finds out. Shit's corrosive.
At this point, we're just making our own fucking Mecha anime.
Yeah. No, that's the point. It just happens to be, look at this fucking Gundam over here. But like,
Gundam-inspired machine.
totally not Gundams.
Ooh,
Wink.
wink. Alright, I'm gonna grab some water real quick.
Go for it. If you wanted, we could go into our break.
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes. So we will be back in 5 to 10 minutes. So don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, and we will be right back. All right, guys. See you soon. God damn it. Word disassociation games are so fun. Bless you. Bless you, fucking Polar Bear from Polar Bear Cafe. Okay, so getting back to it, I have grabbed myself a little bit more alcohol. Just a little bit. Water. Well, I mean, your house ran out of alcohol. Except the big guns, but we're not at that point yet. Because what I was thinking is that eventually, once we figure out our timeline and what we... That was silent. Yeah. There it is. Oh, that's some Foley work right there. Ooh-wee. So once we figure out our timeline and kind of how we want things to structure, you want to get smashed and build a mech? It won't. We don't have to even build the good guys' mech. We can build the villains. Yes. Guys, you witnessed it here first. Our bromance just became drift compatible. Keeping it on point. We always have to keep it on point. Oh my god. Okay, so god damn it, I love Max so much. We'll get to it. Okay, so we are in year 200 currently, like overarching end of the second batch of 50, which is that the Venetians and Martians created a resource. Earth finds out shit's corrosive. Was there a Martian / Venetian scientist or biologist, whatever ologist you want, who was like, this shit is bad, that got shouted down by lobbyists? Or do you want both I wanted to say Venice, Venus and Mars to just be like, yeah, we knew this the entire time and we played you like saps? I don't think the one where they get to say, you played us like saps, would be the heartbreaking one. I was going to say, that one's the one where it's like, we played you for fools, Earth. And Earth is like, why? In Gundam 00, it's legitimately a dude who's like 250 years old. He's just the same scientist. Wait.
Transplanted.
You were muted that whole time. I'm sorry.
I got my head checked. By a trombone check.
I'm sorry.
So, disgraced scientist.
Disgraced scientist. Yeah, so the audiocast listeners heard my end of this conversation, but RJ,
Hey.
which do you think would be cooler? Disgraced scientist.
Did they miss the proposal?
They did.
No. They have to RSVP.
We have very limited slots. Limited slots indeed, but you can find yourself there at Gen Con this year. That's going to be a
Right.
trip.
Disgraced scientist who's, I don't know, basically they built this mech around them to sustain their life. And now they're just like this guerrilla warfare crotchety old man killing supply runs. You know it's amazing.
It is! Mars scientist who gets angry, turns himself into a mech, starts wrecking supply chains.
Supply chains.
Starts wrecking supply chains.
Oh.
That's
This could be a
beautiful.
spin-off. It could be a
That's
spin-off.
a spin-off series. This is Fate, Mecha Fate Gecko, because apparently it angered me so much that was real. Fucking Iron-Blooded Orphans Gecko. Okay. I'm having a great time.
Was I muted for like the entire time, or like just that?
Up until I was like, you were muted. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wait, does this mean you were talking to yourself the entire time, or?
No, well, no, not the sense break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sense break. We're still good.
I was about to be very sad.
I was about to be really confused that we had like regulars in the channel who know that's not what it's like. And they're just like, yeah, let's let Indoor just talk to himself again.
with
Hours.
with RJ actually there this time.
Your mouth moving and just nothing and me. Uh-huh. Yeah.
No, but
Ah, fuck that series. Like Alright, so we have Earth finds out shit's corrosive, disgraced Venetian scientist who knew all along. Okay, question. Because this determines something as well. Where who disgraced the scientist? Was it
Mars.
was it Mars, was it Venice, or was it Earth?
Venice. No, I think it
Or
would be
Venetian, the Venus.
Venus's.
Why is that so hard? Why is Venus a hard word?
I'm your fire, your desire. I think it would be like the Martians who shut him down, because it's like, no, you're wrong. This product is Martian safe because we are Mars and we are prideful.
Okay. And then parentheses, Martian pride.
Martian pride.
Okay, so that puts us 200 years from the first start of sending people out. Earth finds out it's corrosive, so then Earth puts heavy trade embargoes. Or Earth puts Mars on trial?
Including the embargoes. Because then it's a full trade stop. Like, they're not trading with Mars, giving them resources.
Ooh, and then Mars could become more Spartan. Where, like, it was really economically prevalent, but now it's kind of downtrodden. Like, it still has space travel, but it's more of, like, a Wild West in the decay of the city.
Right. I
So
like that.
Earth puts embargoes on Mars, and then tries to get reparations.
And
Or
because
puts
the
the embargo
reparations.
on Mars until reparations are paid.
Yeah. And because of this, it's so taxing on the Mars economy that it becomes that lawless, like, wild, wild west, medieval serfdom.
The medieval Wild West.
The medieval Wild West.
with mechs.
With
I want to go to Mars.
I want to go to Mars.
Can that just be where our campaign takes place?
Holy shit! I kind of want to go to Mars.
Fucking Earthicans. M'lady.
Sir Knight, this town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Ah, shit! Not only is it the Warden, but it's also the Black Knight!
The Warden is the Black Knight.
Nani?
The Martian Warden. The Martian Ranger. I am the county lineman.
Okay. Remember how you were saying earlier we just created our own anime?
Yeah.
Can we create this anime? I don't get... Wings. Wings. Learn how
Wings.
to animate for anime. So
Please.
that way I can get my medieval Wild West fantasy
Or-
mech
or-
anime.
Wings, can we dump money at you so that you can make a manga?
I want that monthly.
I want it.
This monthly. I don't...
Oh,
I want my Wild West fantasy Mars. Oh,
the
God.
Wild West, no, medieval Wild West Mecha Mars.
Okay, now think about this. Remember when LB was saying that she just came back and was really confused by what was going on?
Yep.
Even if you were paying attention to this show, leave a comment. What were we talking about? Because now it's this. It is our medieval Mecha Mars. Wild West. That's what I want. Anyways, we're going to Mars in the campaign. That's decided. So then Mars is still trading with other planets? Or is...
I kind of want to say that because Earth was like, no. Every other planet was like, let's not.
Every planet, parentheses,
Because
except Venus.
even if each planet was its own sort of self-sustained thing, they still kind of rely on those supply runs from Earth for certain things they can't produce.
Yes. All right. So, puts embargoes on Mars. Mars is kind of dicked. Every planet except Venus becomes an embargo because of Earth, or also must embargo because of Earth. And like, Venus is just doing it because they're like, yeah, we totally wouldn't do that.
Shady backroom dealings.
Yeah, but like, it's one of those things. There's only one other planet between them and Earth.
And then there's fucking Mercury just like,
Just shooting around.
it's like, what do you guys even produce over there? Ecstasy.
It's crazy drugs. So
Mercury's the drug planet.
So that's at the end of that 50 years. So then are we doing another 50-year block? Like what happens in the next 50 years?
Let's divide it. Let's break it down. These next 50 years, because I think these are kind of integral leading up into the war.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is just like, do you think the war happens within this 50 years?
I think tensions mount in these 50 years because Mars is on the decline. They're getting very upset, like Venus is also dicked you guys over, but they can't really say that out loud because Venus is their only other trade partner.
Yeah. Venus was dicks too. So then tensions mount. And that's just over the period of that 50 years. Like, we could just blanket statement because no actual issue has kind of arisen. Like, there hasn't been any shots fired. It's just been tensions kind of rising up until that point.
I'll be right back. I hear my mom calling me.
That is okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mech Anime stream, where we created the greatest anime of all time that we didn't even know that we created until just now. That's fine. So then 50 years. Because space years. So, hey, guys. How are you enjoying this show so far? If you're here and you're watching it, Do you find this kind of thing enjoyable? Would you like to see more streams of myself and either RJ or any other guest doing some world building to kind of not only unleash or look under the hood of world building as a whole from my perspective, like how I personally enjoy doing it, as well as just like bring on a variety of people. Maybe again, not just RJ, potential guests as well. Who knows what guests could be here? Probably other people that I'm friends with on either my Twitch or on my Discord. I guess not really friends on Twitch, but I see my friends on Twitch a lot, which is nice. And you can get into the Discord by going to you can subscribe to the channel, which is pretty cool. Or also you can subscribe if you have Amazon Prime. And you link up your Twitch and your Amazon account, you can get one free subscription with Prime every month. So you could do that on this here channel, which would be pretty cool. You can level it out, so that way you guys can get the yeet emote that we use in our Discord a lot. And the easiest way to get into that Discord is either subscribing through Twitch or going to our Patreon. And our Patreon is really, I think it's cool, but that's because I've put a lot of work into thinking and doing things that I want to do for the Patreon. So basic level, you get access to the Discord channel. You also get access to a lot of the audio stuff that I post on to the Patreon, such as an after show for our Monday and Tuesday night games. There is also if you go to the second tier in the patron, as a patron, you get an adventure every month written by me. I still need to finish editing the adventure that I wrote for last month, but that should be out hopefully by the end of next week. Because at this point, I might just call it February's, and I'll owe you one. And then at the $5 donation tier, I will put you into the game. I will put you into a game that I am streaming. You can message me your character, what you would want them to do, how you would want them to be, and I will have them be in the game for you. If enough people end up doing it, who knows? Maybe we could have a council of patrons for our own, which would be pretty sweet. Let's see, what else? We also have a store, a merch store, which you can check out in the link of this either video or audio cast below. For you audiocast listeners, I'm doing the Cyberwolf Pointy Downs. And I think that's it for my general word speech, my plug, I want to say. So I'm going to try and do this mech world building by myself. So actually, I'm going to go back to the notes that I took last time. So here are all my friends. So what they did. So where is... So I feel like in Fate, it is... It's 1 + 4. And then there's 2 + 3s. Then there's 4? Fate, core, character sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 + 2s, and then 4 + 1s. Just work backwards, which is fine. So this is going to be how we will structure our mech. Then of course there is the head, back, arms, legs, and then front, And that is, I'm writing this down so that way later, when RJ gets back and we actually go into our mech building for this stream, at the end of it, that I would like to do anyways, then we can figure out where we want our points to be, because we figured out what skills we had last time, which are armor, blast, empathy, cunning, provoke, will, resources, investigate, rapport, larceny, contacts, notice, melee, pilot, stealth, smithy, physique, not physics, and athletics. But yeah, I've been having an absolute blast doing this today. My blast is at a +4. Is Maxo Blasto. So then, okay, so 50 years, tensions mount, Mars is on the decline, Venus was Dix 2, and then we start having acts of open aggression between Earth and Mars, because Mars wants back in the clubhouse. Side note of that, I don't think that other planets would be able to have other planets would not want to get involved, I don't think. Mostly just because, oh, what is this? Oh, RJ got a call from his grandma. That's sweet. So other planets would not want to get involved with this, with a conflict, whereas conflict begins. So then they fight with generic mobile suits. Who brought the first mech? Well, first, not a Gundam. And then, so we have to figure out who brought the first Gundam to this conflict, and then ultimately, who won? Was there an agreement met? Were reparations paid? Mars is on decline. Venus was Dix 2. So I think, because we also talked about having hyperspace travel. Quick travel between planets, that sort of thing, across the definitely not Bifrost. So I think that having maybe that happens in year 250, that we kind of figured that out, which really helps the travel time. Because then you also have like during that time that there are a mix of like old truckers and old runners who know the long ways to get places, so there's more of a rise of smuggling, I would think, as you get people who learn these routes, how to maneuver through asteroid belts and everything like that using nothing but their wit. And then that's just, oh, here's a highway. Like it just doesn't matter anymore. So they make it matter by performing their smuggling activities. So I think hyperspace in year 250-ish, between 200 250, hyperspace is invented / perfected. Promotion of smugglers as a result. So then we go another 50 years. So fight with generic mobile suits who brought the first Gundam. Were reparations paid? Maybe. What else could we? What other backup questions could we have for RJ? If you have any questions that you guys would like to input or any inputs for the Interstellar Ephemeris calendar, feel free to do so in the chat below. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank the gods.
Sorry.
That's okay. I put more
My
stuff
granny
in.
says hi.
Oh. Hi, Grandma.
She's getting senile.
Yay. So one of the things that I put in was during the 50-year period after the embargoes. That's when hyperspace is invented.
Ooh, okay.
And if Earth, I just realized this as well. So one, hyperspace would promote smugglers. Because it's been 200 years now that people have been kind of traveling throughout space, so there would be people who know, in the smuggler kind of way, how to go between planets, how to move between these areas without getting a whole lot of traction.
Right.
So then there'd be a rise of smugglers. What?
I had the idea of hyperspace dead drops, where basically you'll send these parcels out in like little capsules and just hyper jump them, and then they just appear in front of like the next ring of smugglers, and they're like, okay, this is ours now.
Hyperspace drops for packages. The other thing that I thought of with hyperspace, if this happened post-embargo, Mars wouldn't be included. So, like, that's why it's just like, yeah, Venus, you can trade with us. It's quicker to trade with us than it is trading with Mars. Funny how that works out. And, like, Mars is just like, what the fuck? Like,
guys, come on.
yeah, so, like, I feel like Mars getting skipped is a huge deal. Because, again, like, you just denied them access to the rest of the solar system.
Yeah.
Which, part of the embargo. So, part of the embargo blocks Martian hyperspace. And that's another reason why Mars just, like, fell back on its weird feudal system that it had.
I think an even more, like, I like that. I just want to say an even more fucked up thing is still using Mars as a port for hyperspace, hyperspace trade, but they just can't import anything. It's just a dock. They can't, like, get any revenue from it. Part of the reparations is fuel as well, so they have to refuel up those ships that are doing the hyper jumps.
I like it, but at the same time, I feel like that would make terrorism too easy.
True. Because then you could, like, I'll put a bomb on this one.
Yeah.
Bye!
Have fun in hyperspace, dickhole. You're like, we're traveling at past the speed of light. And then shrapnel just shoots out the other side.
And just keeps going because, you know, space.
Yep.
Someone's gonna have a bad time.
So that's during that 50 years. And then there is, after that 50 years, after the tensions mount, there are acts of open aggression between Earth and Mars. Because Mars wants back in.
Right.
They're tired of it. Like, Mars was like a resource rich area, I would feel like.
And now they're, within these 50 years, they're drained dry.
Yeah, just because of, like, lifestyle choices. And they're like, we got one shot. Fuck up Earth. Win our way back in. Because, like, they're all about, like, if we take down your king, then you have to listen to us now.
And they managed to do it, but everyone else started retaliating against Mars.
Okay, so Mars actually won?
Or they managed to, like, someone, Martian, like, assassin managed to take down whoever was in charge of Earth.
No, I actually really like the idea that Mars won, but then the rest of the colonies and the rest of the planets are like, no.
No.
Like,
Mars
they just
winning?
refuse. And so Mars has to step down.
Or Mars won, but the other planets saw this as an opportunity to secede Earth. And so they ousted Mars.
Yes.
Because Mars couldn't fight another war.
Yeah, Mars used everything it had just to get back to Earth.
Just to get back at Earth. They're like, yeah, we won. And then fucking Jupiter's looming over there like, yeah, you won.
Sure you did. Have you seen these clothes? Fly as hell.
What was it? It was like hyperdimensional, quasi-real business casual.
What the fuck is that?
I'll find it.
This is like hologram Tupac shit. Okay. You can't do that to me. Mars actually won. So again, Martian pride. Ultimately, Mars is still going to be like, yeah, we won. Other people, we don't care. Do you feel like... Do you feel like Mars would have implemented the following style of government? Or do you feel like it's one of those, like, Mars holds up the victory flag and they're like, we fucking did it, and then they turn around and then a representative from Earth is signing with the rest of the colonies declaring independence?
I think that's really funny to me.
They're just like,
Just
yeah, like the other colonies didn't tell you about this? Like, what?
But I
won. I won. Me.
this isn't fair.
Without telling Mars.
Earth's just like laughing, like,
Yeah, just fuck it.
that was their ploy. I'll send you a link.
Okay. Wait, so Mars wins. Other planets saw this as an opportunity to secede Earth without telling Mars. But then is Earth still the central government?
I think at this point, then we break into the planets governing themselves, with representatives meeting every like so often to give a state of affairs sort of deal.
So, well, that's what I was meaning, is that maybe Earth as a entity, as a because they realize they don't have any resources left.
Right.
If everyone secedes, Earth has nothing. But there is one thing that Earth has that the other places don't have. As land. It's not very good land, but it's perfect for building. So the thing is that once they secede, Earth essentially becomes like a Coruscant kind of thing, like where it's like the city planet, but it's entirely like but it's not like a government building as a city, but like that's like its main feature, like in one of the primary land masses where there's just really nothing left. They just have like embassies, essentially. Like, we don't have countries anymore. We have embassies that are that sized. And then you have the primary governmental structure, which is only a couple days away because now you have hyperspace travel.
Right.
So Earth isn't an organization. Earth isn't a place.
Okay. All right, I like that.
All right, so ultimately who won was Mars actually won. And then, so that is that's in the next 50 years after that, which is Earth becomes an embassy planet and houses the intergalactic government.
So do you want to primarily stick this to our solar system, or do you want to bring in a foreign body?
Just our solar system for right now.
Just our solar system for right now. Okay.
Just our solar system for right now. We don't need... Look, the Milky Way's fucking big. That's it. It's a fucking big place. If we're filling it up with space colonies and colonizing planets and moons and whatever the fuck else that ends up coming out of this, it's gonna take a long time.
A long time. Okay.
Like, it could be that, like, maybe there's, like, eventually down the line, like, introduce a kaiju. Like, some weird fucking monster and be like, it's from the next galaxy over where things like this are common. And then you, as players, can be like, do we want to keep dealing with like, these weird politics? We want to kill some aliens.
Some kaiju?
Okay, let's trap it on Venus. Like,
let's trap it on Mars. They won't mind.
Yeehaw!
They tame it.
Yippee-ki-yay, my lady!
Fucking, you see, like, the Gundams start milking the damn thing.
What the fuck? Brilliant. Okay. So, Earth becomes embassy planet and houses intergalactic government. So we are at year 100, 200, 350.
Ooh.
With Earth becoming an embassy planet. There, see, now we're getting into the ridiculous Gundam years. This is what we wanted. It took us 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours of world building. We have our solar system built.
Yes, we have the basic background because now is the time where, okay, Earth has become an embassy planet. Intergalactic government is housed. Is there a intergalactic problem currently, or is this still just a intersparring between planets with the rise of intergalactic tension?
Has enough time passed between the 2 points where there isn't going to be any dissonance from any of the other planets, or is it just like, what kind of tension do you want?
So, what we could do, move it forward another 50 years and have this 50 years after Mars wins and Earth becomes an embassy state. We could either have like 50 to 100 years of it's fine. We're fixing it. We are in the process of Earth becoming this thing, because it's not going to be like an overnight or over year situation where Earth becomes this perfect embassy state. So that would have to be at least how many years while that's happening, as well as Mars getting itself kind of back up on its feet again. And even then, I don't think that Mars would have like its entire planet fitted out like the other ones were, especially after close to about 100 years of embargo.
Yeah.
Like, they would have junkers. They would have ships that are like 150 years old that still fly, but wouldn't pass a Department of Environmental standards. Like, they just wouldn't pass it. So I think that really determines how long do you think it would take for Earth to become this state, especially after losing to Mars?
I think it would honestly take 100 years to get everything, like, well, first rebuilding after all the damage done, and then fucking begin construction, you know?
Okay, so would that be the second 100-year plan?
We could call it the 100-year restoration.
Okay.
Just so that we don't confuse it with the first 100-year plan.
Very fair. So the 100-year restoration.
It's nice that all of our time blocks are 50s and 100s.
Look, world building is easy-ish, jazz hands, when you break it down into blocks that are comprehensible. If you're like, what happened during this 1,000-year period? I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I can break it down. I'm a history major with a minor in sociology and social sciences. I can break it down in 50s. I can't break it down in 1,000. No. We went from throwing rocks at each other to like riding armored horses.
Gundams or
No. Well,
Gundam
horse.
Horse.
Okay, so 100-year restoration, Mars on path to become diplomatic power. Learning the game because they were Wild West medieval for a while. Earth is turning into embassy. People are coming in. Earth has centralized government. That is parliamentary or like a council of 7?
Council of 9.
Council of 9. Okay. Ease of travel between all planets promotes further futuristic tech. Earth currently Earth is like, after hundreds of years, Earth is still trying to reforest.
Right.
Earth outlaws material, or Earth would have already outlawed it, so that's fine. Earth still in process of recovery. Okay, so that's during that 100 years.
Yeah, the restoration process.
Okay, so then after that, is that when our conflict happens?
I kind of want to say there would be a few years of peace.
Well, that would be the 100 years.
Oh, the 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll have conflict.
So what is the conflict that brings us out? That brings us out of this peace.
Ooh, Shadow Council.
May our labors please you. Shadow Council of space stations. But like, what is their goal? Like, what is the end goal to bring these nations out of peace? Because like at this point, we've had 100 years of trying to get back. Are these like Earth reclamationists? Because that would just make Earth a target.
Right. Because I really want to say nothing jumpstarts an economy more than war does.
It's true.
So I think they just basically, they want their planets, like this council's made up of several different planets. They want their planets to have this sort of economic boost that only war can provide. So they just start making war for war's sake.
Counter. This is when we introduce the natural rare resource as a metal and follow the classic Gundanium alloy that they had in Gundam Wing. But it's one of those things where it's like, we have this mineral, and this mineral is found on, what if we say that it's found on space debris that's coming in from another galaxy. And so that way we can also hint at like further kaiju shenanigans and like, hey, if you go here, you can find all the materials you want.
Where the scientists actually find that this mineral is partially organic. So in between battles, if like the mechs are made out of this, they kind of self-heal after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Semi-organic metal from different... I fucking love Gundam so much. Galaxy.
Don't you mean you love whatever we're doing here?
This is not Gundam, but it is Gundam.
Because you know why? Hey, RJ, do you know what Gundam series had a semi-organic self-healing Gundam?
Goddamn G Gundam.
Yep, it was G Gundam. It was Devil Gundam.
It was Devil Gundam.
He started making other Devil Gundams by infecting them with weird metal.
Hey, wasn't that the idea we had earlier today?
Mm-hmm, the zombie thing.
We just come back to G Gundam. We're fucking doing G Gundam.
God.
We just keep coming.
Gundam. It is I, Pantheon Gundam. Okay. So Pluto's not a planet.
Hey now.
No.
Now.
Hear me out. Colonies around Pluto. Fine. Pluto itself. Too barren, too cold, too difficult to terraform. What if a heavy deposit of that ore fell onto Pluto?
Oh god, I thought you were about to say let's weaponize Pluto, and
What the fuck?
I've been so down for it, and it's like out of left field. But yes, let's weaponize Pluto.
I want to weaponize Pluto now. Can we? All caps. Can we weaponize Pluto? I'm not forgetting this.
Like, okay, so this huge mineral deposit hits Pluto, and so the colonists around Pluto just start like, oh shit. So they go down, they start building like facilities and defense matrices to protect this rare resource. And they basically turn Pluto into like a miniature dark side.
Okay. My thought is that nobody had gone to Pluto. It was like just no man's land. The colonists around it were basically just like, they just lived at the edge of society because they already weren't the best of individuals. But huge mineral deposit of this new metal that the government wants in no man's land. But it's not just one government.
It's all the governments.
It's all of them. They all want it.
I want to also pose, it's a huge ass mineral deposit that kind of knocks Pluto off its axis.
Ooh.
So it's like...
Wait, is that how Pluto got weaponized? Is that it's literally on a crash course with another planet?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes.
This
What
is
if
the coolest shit. We have a medieval Wild West mech planet, Mars. We have Pluto crashing into another planet because of a rare mineral deposit that other people want. So they have to destroy Pluto in order to get it, but who's gonna take the gold?
Everyone has guns pointed at Pluto and then also guns pointed at other people. Like this weird mix.
Yeah. Then you have the option for like backdoor alliances as well, of just Venus and Mars once again being like, hey,
friend.
We're sorry about that whole war thing that happened between you and Earth. Like, we're cool now. What if we teamed up? Like old times.
Old time's sake.
And took the minerals for ourselves.
For ourselves.
And then, because you can always have, like, by the end of it, when they fix Pluto and take all the mineral and yay, everybody's happy, that's when Kaiju shows up.
No, oh god. Okay, imagine if you will.
Alien imposters pretending to be people, so that way they could try and trick the rest of the Earth spheres or the rest of the galactic spheres into being confused with each other while the alien invasion begins to happen.
That sounds cool too. The mineral is like krill to these giant space kaiju, and that's what's attracting them to our galaxy.
We literally have food robots. Because it's food for them. So the thing that's killing them is the thing that is legitimately their tasty snack.
God damn it, I love this.
This is our world. This
I'm not even drunk yet.
No, I want to contact Sunrise. Be like, so, my friend and I, we were on Twitch and we made a Gundam story. Please?
Spin-off?
Spin-off? You made Correct Galaxy? Okay, wow, this is awesome. I'm actually really excited for this. Okay, so... Now, oh man, LB is gonna be so pissed. She won't know.
What's happening?
No.
Oh, the alien imposters are like new types.
Yeah. New types.
We got the new types.
We got the new types in there. We did it.
Case closed.
Case closed. Okay, so that's it. That's our conflict.
Is Pluto.
Pluto is rich with mins. Too far. And also on a course to collide with with other planet. Fuck yeah. Okay, so that puts us at... Jesus. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
We have 200, 300. We're at year 500.
Yes!
Which-
Year 500.
No, because it's not going to be year 500 by the time that people are already going about it, because Pluto has... Quick. What is Pluto's axis? How fast does Pluto travel around the sun?
Pluto year. 248 years.
So let's say that we are in the less than 50.
But because Pluto's in that crash course, that orbital period is going to start shrinking.
Yeah. So we are at less than 50 years since the initial crash, because right now it's a lot of people, like, they figure out what the mineral is. Or, like, they've
Right.
known about the mineral. They realize this has happened on Pluto. Years. Pluto time. All right. So we got Pluto time. We have our timeline now. We have our timeline, especially because, think about it this way. What is the one thing that you want when getting minerals like this? You want
A monopoly on it?
No. You want drills, you want excavation, you want mechs that are what? General purpose.
General purpose mechs.
Like the ones that we started with at the beginning of this. So a lot of our mechs are going to have things that are going to be useful for getting shit like this / fighting. I'm gonna use the bathroom really quick, but then when we come back, you want to build a mech?
I'm gonna get drunk.
Yeah, I will be right back.
Okay. Hey friends, how's it going? I got a bottle of Knobs Creakin', gonna drink it all, and we're gonna build a mech. Please respond to my love. Thanks, Stephen. What's the alcohol per 350%. Cool.
I'm so happy and excited.
Me too.
Because think about this. If we do have the aliens disguising themselves as people, that's a grid man. That's anti.
That's a grid man.
That's anti. Or actual grid man, if you wanted to be like, yeah, I'm actually a group of high school students that turns into a mech.
I like the idea that there's just some dude who like gets himself, he like launches himself out of an airlock without a spacesuit, and then just like boom, 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 boom.
Just turns.
Kaiju.
Oh, That'd be so cool. That'd be so cute. But then
what
I
if
need the fate book on how to build kaiju.
What if the kaiju are also made out of this organic metal? So we can harvest kaiju. But then what about the kaiju rights? Oh no, we're getting so deep into this.
Okay. Let's call it good. Kaiju are just a thing that would be fun. For now.
For now. I really want to also get into the the scientist who just goes rogue.
Is that the mech that we want to build tonight?
I have a mech I kind of was thinking about as I was talking to my grandma, and this is saying something.
Okay.
Because it's totally off the, like, it's a quick build. It's really a quick build.
All right. I'd be down, because we have 17 minutes left in the stream. To when we normally go. So quick build would probably be for the goods.
Oh no, this is stupid. So basically you take the transformation mech and then put blasts in every single slot. And then you transform and then you put blasts in every single slot.
No.
Yes.
What would it look like?
A missile.
Wait, no. You're from Mars. You look like a big 6-shooter. Just a revolver floating in the air.
Let me tell you, in which one was it? In one of the Power Rangers, the Red Ranger's mech turns into a fucking handgun.
Metal
and it was
cell.
the black guy.
No. No.
Sriracha and whiskey is horrible, by the way.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad mix.
My mouth has been on fire for the last hour.
Oh my god. Okay, so do you want to make crazed scientist mech?
Yes, let's make crazed scientist mech.
Okay, so crazed scientist mech. All Gundams have a theme. Tequila Gundam included. So, what is the theme of Old Man Mech? Because it would look old. It would look old.
Alchemy.
Okay, so an alchemical look.
An alchemical look, I guess.
So the head, Plague Doctor mask, probably.
Ooh, yeah.
Where it has that like bird-like nose. So does the Plague Doctor mask give is it a internal system? This is the wording that they use in Fate. Internal system or external system? An external system means that you get the pluses and bonuses, whereas an internal system is something where you can you open up your beak and shoot acid at people. Like there's something like it's a stunt.
I think it would be internal. The weaponize of the two alchemical mix,
For the head?
For the head, I guess. It would be or I don't know.
Cause okay, so let's think about what his body looks like. Cause maybe that'll give us hints on what his abilities are. So the head, do we want Plague Doctor mask? Or do we want something else?
Have you ever seen Repo the
Genetic Opera? Yes.
Yeah. The Dr. Repo Man sort of
Okay.
mask dealy would look cool.
It almost looks like a Zaku.
Repurpose Zaku.
Okay.
Yeah.
Repopist.
Repopist.
It's a repopist Zaku.
What's that? That dolphin wants to take back your stuff? It's a reporpoise.
Repurposed Zaku to look like a Repo Man. Repo Genetic.
Man Doctor.
Opera Doctor. The back. What would the back have?
Ooh, I kind of like the idea. It has these two tanks.
Okay. And do the tanks connect to anything?
Ooh.
Like, are they like onto his hands where he can shoot out like a weird liquid into space?
A non-Newtonian fluid into space. I like the idea. I like the idea of the alchemy. So it would be like he could fire one thing, which is like a globular, viscous, sticky, and it could gunk up your mech, and then the other one is just like liquid nitrogen, so that it like freezes your mech, and then he just like punches it, and it shatters.
Sticky up your mech.
And that's how like he basically punches through supply runs.
I like it. So, because we can't have 2 stunts per body part, one of those we could designate to the hands.
And then the other one would be towards the back.
Yeah, well, like, structurally and visually, he could have both of the tanks on the back, but we would have to give up a slot on the hands to be able to do both.
Okay.
So, arms, because you can target parts of the mech in this game, what do you think would be better to have on the hands, the liquid nitrogen or the stickies?
Because the back is next to the cockpit, so if it was liquid nitrogen exploding and the dude is in the cockpit.
Yeah, well, like, technically, again, both of them would be on the back.
On the back. Let's do hands for the stickies and then back for the nitrogen.
Okay. So, globular, stickies up enemies. Back, 2 tanks, liquid nitrogen. Do you think that there would be, like, cords coming from the, coming from the back tanks onto the hands?
I would think so, because if it was internal, it would probably be bulkier, you know? So it wouldn't be as, like, easily to punch through stuff.
It's true. So then we have large transfer cables.
And I like the idea that he can't really use guns because it's harder to make ammunition in space than it is just to synthesize these materials.
Yeah, he just gets a lot of it from harvesting shit on asteroids.
Whatever.
Then we could say, yeah, it's Gundam. Rules
Gundam.
don't matter. Okay, so for his legs, do we want to have an internalized system or a externalized system?
What are our options externally? Because I like the internal systems we have so far.
Externally is just boosting any specific kind of class. So, like, if he wanted the abilities that we chose, we could have an increase in resources or smithy.
Ooh. I like increase in resources because I like the idea that his legs come together and he just starts burrowing into, like, asteroids.
I had the other one for smithy. So when he lands on something, you can see what look to be these little tendrils of metal that just kind of extend outward and sink into the ground, and then that's how he refills his canisters.
Ooh, yeah. I like that.
And so, like, all he has to do is just land and, like, stand somewhere for a long enough period of time, which kind of has this weird presence about him because he's legitimately just standing there looking at you, getting stronger.
Okay.
Okay, so for his legs, we probably want resources. No, because resources
It's spending.
is spending versus smithy, which would be
Creation.
which would be the creation of things.
Okay.
So let's do +3 smithy. And then the other +1 would be provoke. Possibly. Because again, just kind of that imposing presence. I would think anyways.
Where's this going? It's going to be a 2-2 smithy provoke.
It would be +3 to smithy and then just +1 to provoke.
1 to provoke. Okay.
Well, that depends. Like, if his character ended up having more provoke than the mech did, we would just go +4 to smithy. No problem. But it's more of just like we're building the mech without knowing who the pilot is.
Yeah.
Like, we have a general idea of who the pilot is, but, like...
Insane.
Nutty.
Nutty.
He's a nutter.
Eddie Murphy.
So... There's the front. What would be on his front? Would it just give him, like, the ability to be able to pilot? Like, would it be like an autopilot mech, or do you feel like he would have, like, custom built this himself and he's just really good at piloting himself?
I like the idea where what we said, he was sort of wheelchair bound to this mech. So it's basically keeping him alive. So when the tendrils come out, it's also sucking up nutrients from whatever and then synthesizing it to keep him alive. So the chest would be like, I don't know, there's an autopilot system because he can't really move himself.
The other one that I feel could be cool is stealth. Because he's supposed to have been alive for a long time, right? So if he had this cloak around him where you couldn't see the tanks on the back to be like, this is my fucking weak point, or anything about his gloves, and he's just standing there. He doesn't look like he's doing anything. But, like, that's what's allowing him to draw in power, and he just sort of stands there.
Yeah. I also like, he hits these supply runs, and then he just ghosts.
Yes. All right, so we have the arms, which have their own stunt. The back has its stunt. And then does the head have any stunt with it? Because that was the Repo Genetic Opera mask. But we could...
kind of want to put the... It's not sensor, it's a notice?
Notice.
Yeah. So when he's standing there, he's also scan sweeping the area. So
the little Zaku eye that just swivels back and forth.
Yeah.
Because what we could do is +2 to notice, +2 to investigate. Or think, because investigate I don't think actually is that. I think investigate is legitimately like, I'm going to look through these tomes and find out what's down here.
True.
So I think notice would be good as a +4.
Yeah.
Okay. So, +4, notice. Alright, so that is our mech, is that look. So, it is mech with a large... Okay, so is the cloak fabric, or is it like space fabric?
Or is it like the Master Gundam's cloak, where it's like metal plates that come in front?
Ooh. I like that, because then, like Gundam Deathwing or Gundam Death Scythe, large wings just spurt out from the back that look like bat wings.
Yeah.
I love Gundam Death Scythe so much. So with metal wing cloak over center. No, it wouldn't be able to have the metal cloak. It would have to be fabric of some sort because of the tanks on the back. Because if it was metal, you wouldn't be able to have those tanks covered up by the metal.
Right. Unless it encompasses...
No, because if they would be placed on the same spot. It wouldn't be able to lie flesh. It would have to be something that could wrap over it.
Wouldn't, like, the shoulder units, like, have the cloak and then wrap it over so that it goes, like...
But if the...
Like, vestments, sort of?
Yeah, but if it's vestments, like, coming over the front, again, the problem is that there are these large units on the back.
True. Okay.
So it would have to be cloth of some sort, but you could even say that that is that Jupiter cloth that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, Jupiter cloth is like silk steel, where if you pass like a certain, like the Batman sort of cloak, where if you pass a current through it, it like fans out.
Yeah.
And rigidity, like rigidness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Jupiter cloth, silk steel, and it's a Jupiter cloth cloak.
It was appropriated.
So then it just has... Oh, that's good. It was appropriated. So we have the cloak, we have the mask, we have the hands. What colors is this? Honestly, I was thinking red for a lot of it, but that's just because it's like, there it is, the red guy. But like, if he's like a standing in the back, not really doing much, and also because like the Repo Genetic Opera mask was red.
I like because he's a scientist, like some sort of, but that's sort of more doctory, like a red and white color scheme. Like, you know how like the medical cross over a white background.
The alternate that I thought is the blue Zaku color.
Ooh.
Because again, like he, as a doctor, former doctor, he wasn't a medical doctor. He was a researcher. He was could have been like a geologist or some other like earth scientist, so he might have more like earthy tones. Yeah?
I have the Gundam name.
What is it? What's the name?
The Gundam Curie. Like, you know, was it Mary Curie?
Yes. Pretty Curie.
Pretty Curie! Marie Curie, that's who she was.
Yes, Gundam Curie.
I have the cure for you.
Humanity is sick and it needs a cure.
Oh, I love that album.
They're pretty good, I suppose. What?
I like corn. What?
Who are you? Yeah, so we have the overall look. So it's Gundam Curie. It's wearing a Jupiter cloth cloak over its tanks and over its arms, so it looks kind of bulky. It's more like poncho style than it is like wrapped around. So it's just like it's covering everything that it needs to, but you can see the legs and the head. But the head has the hood up over it, so it's more like a cloak, but again, poncho style. So that way, like, you can't see the chest piece.
Right. Okay. I like it.
Because again, like, this is an old suit. Maybe the chest piece doesn't have a whole lot of protection. Kind of like Lupus. Barbados Lupus Rex. It was, like, very thin in the chest.
They have to save on weight somewhere, so they have to, like, kind of...
shave it off, yeah.
Shave it off, and then it's, like, sort of subterfuge, like, oh, I'm bulky everywhere.
Just kidding. And then he gets up close and uses his abilities.
Just punch through your fucking mech.
Yeah. God damn it, I'm so down for this. He's there. We made an anime.
We made an anime.
We didn't make a Gundam. We made an anime. A whole anime.
For all you people out there listening, don't you dare fucking steal it, because this is our baby.
I mean, you can steal it as long as you pay us.
Please.
Give me money. I'll make you so many anime.
Let Steven and I voice act in it.
I will voice act and just give you general anime. I will send it. And I think with that desperate plea for employment, that is where we are going to call it for tonight. So I wanted to say thank you, RJ, for coming out and helping me solve the eternal question of where the fuck are we in this mech game? I don't understand.
Wait, did we not get there?
No, we did.
Okay.
We got there. Thank you for helping me solve this question. Because again, I don't know if I could have done it by myself. This was a lot, and we figured out 500 plus years of anime history the entire time with mechs just going by in the background and our dear friends in chat.
Buh.
So, I wanted to say thank you for stopping by, and where can we find you?
Oh, hey everybody, I am RJ here on the show. You could find me on Mondays and Tuesdays playing on the Indoor Adventures stream. Here. Yeah. Mondays as Calum, the Shadow Guy Cleric, and Tuesdays as Hubris, the Tiefling Warlock. And you can find me on Saturday at 1 p.m. EST on Pro Restarter's channel as Ajax, our silent initiative.
And I believe on the 13th, we are going to be for the next couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, starting on the 13th. We are going to be doing the Curse of Strahd, starting off with the Death House module. Our dear friend Danae is going to be running a 3-man game with myself as a player, RJ, and our other dear friend LB Hackemup, who doesn't know anything about Gundam, which is why all of this stream was very overwhelming. But we're going to be doing that for the next 2 weeks, because next week I will be ending the Neverwinter series / Never Wednesday series that I had with Reeves, because we will be finishing Dark Souls 3. It is the end of an era. It was a good game, but I have heard the cry for more tabletop games, so more tabletop game I will deliver. Other than that, you heard my spiel of where you can find us while RJ was out and about, so we will see you guys next time. All right, everybody.
Bye.